Welcome to today's spotlight for the Connected Spirit, Connected Biz summer gift event. And I'm so excited to have Andrea Hylen with me today. She's the founder of Heal My Voice and The Incubator, which is an online co working space for women with writing and creativity support and coaching. And she's also the author of Heal My Voice, An Evolutionary Woman's Journey, and 14 more books. So, very creative. She's worked with hundreds of women and men who have written stories of trauma, loss, and grief to heal an old story, reclaim inner authority, and step into greater leadership in their lives. She's also a practitioner in ancestral lineage healing um, in the ancestral medicine community of Daniel 4. And that's all just exciting stuff. So welcome. Thanks for being with me today for a nice little chat. And, for those that haven't, you and I, we've been kind of hanging out together for a while. So, and I'm really excited about a lot of, well, all of what you're doing. But for those that aren't that familiar with you, tell us a little bit about your story and how you got to where you're at and the work that you're doing.
Well, I've been sitting here. First of all, hello to everyone out there. Thanks for listening. It's always a process of being on a show and being interviewed. And there are a couple things I feel like a little bit like I'm going to break protocol a little bit. And
Go for it.
I kind of told Sherry that ahead of time. She's like, what? So anyway, she's always going with it. I feel like I've been working with you for maybe 3 years now, Sherry, and really building something in the background with bringing writing and things that I've created and wanting to put them into some format to bring forth to people. And so, uh, number one, I did an interview with Sherry last year, and I talked a lot about my story of how I came to be a writer, my love of it from the time I was a child, and just creativity, singing, dancing. Like I like crayons, I like cutting things out of paper, I like collage. I like there's a lot of ways that creativity has really served me in my life. And what really led me to Heal My Voice and the incubator was a number of deaths throughout my life. It was the death of a brother when I was 4, a death of a son in 1993. He was 19 months old, born with a congenital heart defect, survived 2 open heart surgeries, and then died of a
Wow.
neuroblastoma cancer right before I gave birth to my fourth child. So there was a lot of like experiencing grief, trauma, and loss, and what it means to hold grief and joy at the
At the
same
same
time.
time.
The loss of a son. And so I went into it a little bit more on the first interview. So if it seems like I'm like, yeah, okay, lost this, da 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 da. I mean, it's when it's your story and you've told it so many times, you can kind of
Gloss
fast.
over it a little bit.
Right, you can. You can. Obviously, these were devastating moments. And then when my husband died from cancer in 2005, that started me on another journey. And it's wild to be doing this interview with you right now because July 28th will be the 20th anniversary of his death. So it's in
Wow.
the 20 years since he died, a lot of things changed in my life. And it was kind of like having what I've always felt like, wow, the trifecta of death, when it's like the brother, the son, the husband, when that third one comes, it's like, okay, what am I going to do with this? And so I know that Sherry normally asks, what is our free gift? I'm just going to say a brief thing. I have the magic of setting intentions. And I'm telling you this because I want to talk with you about intention. And I want to demonstrate in telling you my story how intention actually began to shift things, began to help me live from my own inner guidance even more after. I mean, I already did, but once my husband died, it led me on a deeper path. On the weekend of his memorial service, and we were celebrating his life, a postcard arrived in the mail that said, "Come to an Evolutionary Women retreat." And it was a friend of mine. I was living in Maryland. She was now living in Santa Barbara, and it was "Come to an Evolutionary Women retreat." And something about that, when I saw that, I was like, I want to be an evolutionary woman.
Mm,
That is setting an intention. And as fleeting a moment as that was, when I put the postcard up to address it later after the memorial service, and I did sign up and kind of the preparation of going there, like, okay, I'm going to do the work to become an evolutionary woman. It was at the retreat where I got this whole flash of my life of like,
hmm
I am an evolutionary woman. That has been the way that I have been problem solving and all. And so I share that because what led me to Heal My Voice and the incubator, where it's a co-working space for women creatives, and they do all kinds of things. It's like women will come because they want to write a book, and sometimes writing that idea to write a book awakens a love of photography, and they turn their attention to photography and they enter a contest with their photos. It's like what leads you on the path. So
right.
it's like the intention is I want to be in a co-working space with other women who are doing creativity projects. And that creativity project can be yourself. And I know I'm talking a lot and you're not giving me the space to answer me questions, but I'm going to just share one other thing and then see where you want to go with this, Sherry. This year I wrote a story in a book called Writing: The Brave Healer's Guide for World Changers. And the title of my book is The Alchemical Process of Book Writing. Create time and
Nice.
space for your heart message to grow. So, intention is creating spaces where you create a container, you create a space for something to grow, and you notice what shows up. And a thought to write a book might lead you to start a podcast. A thought to write a book may bring up something about wanting to change something in your life. And so, but it is the intention that allows for the space of something to grow.
It's like the trigger, isn't it?
It
It's the
is.
trigger.
It is, absolutely. So I didn't exactly tell you all my story other than a few little bits and pieces, but in 15, 20 minutes, how much of my story can I really tell you anyway? So there is that other interview in 2024, and I encourage you to look at Sherry's channel and
Oh,
listen to some of the gift offerings now, but also things that she has the interviews she's done over the last few years that are there with things to spark your interest. Yeah.
yep. Yep. So with all of that being said,
Yes.
so at this point, like you told us a little bit about who you work with your incubator, but you have a general target group or
Sure.
preferred, not preferred, but who do you work with mostly? How about
Well,
that?
I mostly work with women, and I want to say for any of the men who are listening, I do have a public Facebook incubator page that is the incubator of free creativity community. And if you download the Magic of Setting Intentions, the information is there about that. And I welcome men to the conversations there. That's why I wanted a public space. And I have found over the years that even though I work with men individually, the group is just, even when I opened it for men at one point, there weren't any men that signed up. So it
Yeah.
just feels like the message from the universe is hold the space for women. And they are women who want to be in a field of energy that is around creativity. One of the things that I do in the incubator every year, I offer spaces. Okay, let me back up. If you've never heard of a co-working space, so there's these brick and mortar places where you can pay a membership, you can go in and use the space. There are cubicles, there are meeting rooms. So there are places where you can go be by yourself. There are places where you can work around other people or where you can meet with people. You can go and get a cup of coffee or tea and talk with people.
Yep.
And so the thought, because I love co-working spaces so much, the thought that I had was why not do it in a virtual space where people can come onto, I have a daily hour of writing from October 1st to February 28th when the incubator is in, when it's open. Um, and I have a weekly office hour. It's like there's places where you can join in community and be quiet or share things. And there's individual coaching. And then I throw in things because somebody has a need or a desire. And it could be that someone, I always offer guest spots on my podcast during it. And really, that podcast has become the incubator with a few other people who are part of my life. Um, and yeah, and just see what happens. And then the other thing is that every year I write for 100 days about around a topic. And this year in 2025, it's going to be the heroine's journey. And I'm going to really highlight what is different about the heroine's journey versus the hero's journey.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Nice.
Mhm.
I can't wait to pay attention to that one.
Yeah. There'll be lots coming out of that. It ends up being like a course that if people want to use it, the
Hmm.
information, they can either use it now or in the future because I give them all the content to use
Hmm.
that. All right, Sherry. Well, I've just like turned over all the buckets and done this a different way, but
It's
maybe
all
that'll
good. It's all good.
keep it alive for you too.
So, so let everybody know what's like your core services that you're offering. Like you've talked about the incubator. I know you do some other things also. If
Sure.
there's anything else you want to talk about or highlight, let's do that,
Well,
and
I'll
then we'll
just
talk about your gift.
that sounds great. The one thing I want to also mention is that I do ancestral lineage healing, and this is a process where you're connecting with ancient spirits in or ancient ancestors who are in spirit to learn from them the blessings and the burdens on each of your four primary grandparent lines, and then asking them to do the healing. Um, and we just take it one grandparent line at a time. And the intention for me is to have them help us dissolve the burdens and amplify the blessings so that you can live your life from the blessings and even change the DNA that you're carrying from your ancestors. So it's a process. And I know Sherry's like looking at me like, wait a minute, what about? So I do have online courses now. And that's one of the things that we're working on with Sherry is taking all this content, putting it into a digestible form. So there's a free toolbox that, and actually that's one of the offerings that's on the in this gift giving also. You can find that, the link to that. And then there are online courses where I talk about relationship building with the unseen and grief and forgiveness, and then a process of doing this ancestral lineage healing, either with a practitioner or on your own.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And boy, the world could use more of that.
Yes. Let us let us heal that, these old
Yep.
patterns that are no longer serving us.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. So anybody that's listening, the link for the gifts are going to be below the video, wherever you're watching this video. And take Andrea up on these because they're fabulous, and you won't regret that at
Mhm.
all. Um, so if somebody wants to, reach out, find out more about you, connect with you, maybe for a call or work with you, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Well, definitely go to my website, andreahylen.com, and there's ways of
Links
connecting,
below.
yeah, ways of connecting with me there. And I encourage you to sign up for either or both of the gift offerings that speak to you, the magic of setting intentions and the toolbox for ancestral lineage healing. Within each of those, there are ways to connect with me. And I encourage you to hang out for a little while and receive some of the follow-up emails that I'll be sending. I have like 5 that I created that go out once a month. And I'm really going to highlight, I'll just give you an example with the intentions. I'm going to talk about a couple of books like The 11 Intentions by Linda Terry and how she wrote a book about the goddesses and setting intention with them. I'm going to talk about the power of intention. So there are books and resources, and I just encourage you to hang out for a little while because there's free content that's going to go out over the next few months. And then it's up to you how
Yep.
you want to work with me, play with me, come into this field. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for spending some time with me again and sharing what you do and because it's all really awesome stuff. Again, anybody watching, the links to her gifts will be below the video as well as her website. So make sure you check that out. And thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Thanks, Sherry. Bye.
Bye.
Mwah.